to another questionable review. I have a passion for projects, a penchant for projects, a proclivity for projects, if you will. And right before the end of 2020, I set about reading some of my old favourites. And one particular book that I happened to read was A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Bernard. I don't know whether you've ever read this book, but it is a love story, and you might know that I'm not the biggest fan of love stories. But this particular love story gave me hope. I don't know whether you've ever read A Quiet Kind of Thunder, but if you did, you would realise that maybe the romance genre isn't as dead as I have been insisting that it is. And so, this book kind of made me fall back in love with love. It's rekindled the romance renaissance. Okay, I'll shut up now with the stuff. Yeah. And so I decided that I was going to go out there in 2021 and exclusively read romance novels. And I realised that this is a big undertaking. I realised that this is going to be a lot of stress, but I think that I can do it. I do think that I can do it. So, without further ado, I am going to do a review on A Quiet Kind of Thunder and the book that has started this whole thing. So, for those of you who have never read A Quiet Kind of Thunder, I will quickly describe the plot. Essentially, Steffi is a mute, and a new kid comes to her school called Reese, and it turns out that he's deaf. And the two kind of get pushed together because both of them know sign language, and obviously the teachers think that Steffi will be a good friend to Reese as the only other student in the school who understands sign language. Obviously, through this friendship and then a relationship develops, and we just kind of follow that story. And obviously we know at this point that I'm not a fan of love stories, but I've never read this love story before. This is a whole new narrative with whole new characters that have their own unique struggles that I've never read before. And if Sarah Bernard can do it, why can't there be other romances out there that are doing things differently and doing things well? Like, surely there's more. This book also kind of acts as a coming of age for Steffi, which we all know I love a coming of age story. There's a lot about friendships as well. She's got her best friend Tem, and we see a lot of how her new relationship affects that friendship. You can tell that friendships are very important to Sarah Bernard. She writes about them a lot, and she writes them well. In this particular book, she explores secrets between friends and how they affect the relationships, how they can lead to rifts, and also how they can lead to resentment in a relationship. That's always a possibility. Other issues discussed in this book: virginity, which I wasn't expecting, but her friend Tem has this whole plot line about will she, won't she lose her virginity, and there's a really important message that your beliefs about virginity and when might be the appropriate time to lose it may change as you get older, and that's okay. And I just thought that was really important because young girls get a lot of guilt put on them for thinking that they are ready to lose their virginity, or for thinking that they are not ready to lose their virginity. In a lot of ways it feels like a catch-22, and I just thought it was really good to see a positive message out there, you know, advocating for it being completely and totally your choice. And also the fact that Bernard, she made it so that these younger readers would understand that, say, like, when you're 14, you think, oh, I'll save myself for marriage, specifically with that one pop star with the curly hair. And, you know, then when you're 16, you think, oh, well, I'll save it for my first serious boyfriend. And then by the time you get to 18, you're like, yeah, I did it with some guy 2 years ago. And that's okay. Like, as long as you're ready, it doesn't matter what you've thought about virginity at a time prior to this or what you will think about it in the future. As long as it is entirely your choice, there's nothing wrong with the choice that you make. I also thought it was cute that when it came to Steffi having sex with Rhys, even though she did want to and she did have these, you know, passionate feelings towards him and she was ready, there was a scene where she was relieved to find that Rhys had fallen asleep when they were meant to be doing it. And I just thought this was a really good scene because obviously, even though Steffi knows that she's ready, she's still nervous. And it teaches us that, you know, it's okay to be scared. And that doesn't mean that you're not mature enough or not ready enough. It's just a perfectly natural reaction to doing something new that you've never done before, that, you know, everybody is hyped up in their heads. I also really like that the first time between Steffi and Rhys isn't like super passionate and Steffi doesn't come 12 times and, you know, Rhys only lasts for a couple of seconds. It's just more realistic and it doesn't give younger readers the wrong idea about what sex is going to be like. In fact, it's one of the most realistic sex scenes I have ever read. The last thing that I really like about this book, and the most important thing why it works as a romance for me personally, is that it really does show you this steady relationship built from strong foundations. It's not a lightning strike, but the rumbling of thunder. It's slow and it's steady. And it's surprising how few books, especially young adult books, focus on the more whirlwind romance type relationship than on a relationship like this, which is actually a more healthy relationship for younger people to idolize than, say, the relationship from Twilight. I don't know. I don't know, I'm 24. All I'm saying is that stability is underrated and it needs more representation in all romance novels, not just young adult romance novels. Can I just say that I haven't read a recent romance novel, like in recent years, that's had a bad boy in it, and I am so living for the day that the bad boy is completely out of style. The day that a bad boy turns up in a film and everybody goes, oh, he's obviously not the love interest, have you seen him? That is the day I want to live for. So this has been a Quiet Kind of Thunder and a questionable review, and if you would like to continue with me on my journey to find love, then you can tune in next time when I'm going to be, you know, rooting through my bookcase and discovering some of the romances that I used to like before, you know, I had my heart broken or somebody took it and put it in a box or something. I'm not sure what happened, but this ice queen didn't get made all by herself, all right? So this has been a questionable review and I will see you next time.